to the Preachers. Despite bad blood and salacious tabloid stories and new romances, celebrity couple Arnold Schwarzenegger and his wife Maria Shriver has yet to divorce. Arnold and Maria ended their relationship 5 years ago. The question is, what in the world is keeping them together?
I mean, this is not an unusual problem, guys. I mean, we've always heard it's cheaper to keep her.
I don't think it's, in this case, it's cheaper to keep her. Maria Shriver's got her own money because, honey, her family is Kennedy. They're not worried about money. She had bank while he had bank. They could go dollar for dollar and they'd be fine. I think this speaks more to this idea that you can still be in a marriage, but even though they moved on in separate relationships, this is a different family ideal. What marriage doesn't mean what it used to mean a generation ago, let alone even 10 years ago.
That's right.
So I mean, I don't know all the mitigating factors. I just know that it's troubling that people who believe that they were going to be together forever, for whatever reason it didn't work out, now they're kind of in this middle area. I'm with you. If they're not going to fight to try to work it out together, then I don't understand why they're still in this covenant relationship.
Here's my thing, guys. On one hand, we say they may not get divorced because of their faith, because Catholicism frowns upon divorce. So I won't get divorced because I want to do the right thing in terms of my faith, but I'll commit adultery. What's the difference? You know, it's I pick and choose. I feel like a belief. You know what I mean? So my thing is, if you're miserable, if you don't want me, hey, we had a good run. I'm on my own life.
Let's change the atmosphere. Yes, is an 8th grader from Atlanta, who we first heard about when last week his courageous and electrifying poem about white privilege went viral. We talked about his poem on the show. Remember this?
Dear everyone who isn't the middle or upper class white boy, I'm sorry. I have started life at the top of a ladder while you were born on the first rung. I say now that I would change places with you in an instant, but if given the opportunity, would I? Probably not, because to be honest, being privileged is awesome. I'm not saying that you and me on different rungs of the ladder is how I want it to stay. I love it because I can worry about what kind of food is on my plate instead of whether or not there will be food on my plate. I love it because when I see a police officer, I see someone who's on my side.
We're joined now by the 14-year-old poet Royce Mann. Thanks for being here, Royce. Your poem has received over 14 million views online. How in the world did that happen?
I don't know. I just wrote this poem for my school's poetry slam, and I just wanted to talk about privilege in an honest way, because we learned a lot about privilege in school this year in a class that we have called Race, Class, and Gender, which I think every school should have. So I just wanted to be honest about the privileges that I have and the fact that I love these privileges, but that it's a shame that other people don't get to enjoy those privileges.
Wow.
Why did you think it was so important to talk about white privilege? Why did you think that?
It's because white privilege, that's the elephant in the room, and it has been for a while. Everybody knows it's real. They just don't want to talk about it because lots of people are scared of change. They're scared of losing the privileges.
You better say that, man.
Scared of change. What else are you saying?
They're scared of losing the privileges that they have, but I wanted to write this poem because nobody's asking them to lose those privileges. It's not like the privilege is a check every month and we don't have enough money to give it to everybody. The privileges that I have because of my skin color and my gender, it relates to not having to go through injustices in my everyday life. And everybody should feel safe when they're pulled over by a police officer.
Right.
Everybody should be able to eat at a fancy restaurant without the waitstaff expecting them to steal the silverware.
Royce, I'm moved, man. I want to give a shout out to your school, the Padale School in Atlanta, Georgia. That's one of the greatest schools in Michigan. You know, you're saying things that a lot of adults don't have the courage to say. I mean, it's mind-blowing to hear a 14-year-old talk with such wisdom and such, objectivity. What has the response been to your poem?
Yeah, there's been definitely a mixed response. There's been a lot of negative comments, which I think is good because we can start a dialogue which is really important. And there was also been a lot of positive comments. And there's one that I really thought summed it all up. Somebody on YouTube, they said that white privilege, the definition of white privilege is that life can be hard if you're white, but life is seldom hard because you're white. And if you want to think of it in another way, it's that life can be easy if you're of a minority, but life is seldom easy because you're of a minority.
I love it.
You know what? I need to meet your parents after this show and hug them and tell them thank you for raising such a balanced, wise young man. Have you written a lot of poetry before this?
No, this was one of my first slam poems. My school, we have a slam poem competition every year in the junior high, and I was just writing it for that, but I just had so much fun writing it because I was able to get my opinions out and with my words, and I think that that's really important. Instead of doing it in a violent way, we need to change the world with our words.
Listen, I don't know, Royce, if you heard this or not, but there's an opening for a new president of the United States.
About 25 years.
I heard that you have a new poem
Yes.
that you've written.